Here, I forgot to turn my microphone on again. All right, so I'm going to start over. Sorry about that, everybody. We went, how long did we go here? 5 minutes. I just... It's like it's important to get this information out. So I'm going to start over. And if I need to, I'll crop out. I'll do some online edit or something if it's available. Okay, Network 764 is a decentralized extremist online group classified by U.S. authorities as a violent terrorist network. It targets minors through encrypted platforms, coercing them to do acts of self-harm, sexual exploitation, and violence. What is Network 764? It was founded in 2021 by Bradley Chance Cadenhead, aka Felix. He's a teenager from Stephenville, Texas. The name origin of 764 refers to the zip code of Cadenhead's hometown. Platforms that they use are Discord, Telegram, Roblox, Minecraft, and other forums and other game platforms such as Xbox and PlayStation. Their ideology, it's a nihilistic violent extremism. It's supposedly not driven by political or religious goals, but by sadism, misanthropy, and a desire to destabilize society. Honestly, from what I've seen with it and with the way that they describe it, it has the Luciferian and Satanism and a little bit of like the way the Antifa act. Okay, I want to be careful what I say. I'll leave it at that. You can find out more about it in the links that I left in the description below for you. But I'm going to continue on here with it. This is important stuff. Criminal activities and tactics. They use sextortion and grooming. Members manipulate vulnerable minors ages 9 to 17 into producing child sexual abuse material. I'll refer to that as CSAM going forward. Okay, so they engage in self-harm and they commit acts of animal cruelty. So if you see anything out there where they talk about smashing, your spidey senses, your alarm bells should be going on, okay? Excuse me. So terrorism charges. In 2025, Baron Kane Martin, who went by the moniker of Convict, he was a key figure in 764, and he was indicted on 29 federal counts, including terrorism, child exploitation, and conspiracy to maim or kill. This Network 764 does have an international reach. The victims span multiple countries, and so do the people that operate in this group, okay? The FBI has opened over 250 investigations tied to Network 764. So, recruitment and radicalization. Members share guides on how to groom and extort victims, often using satanic and neo-Nazi symbols. Their psychological profile and origins. The founder's background. Cadenhead was bullied, isolated, and fascinated by graphic violence from a young age. He dropped out of school at 15 and began building the network. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but just from the little bit that they told me about this guy and what he became involved in and what he created, this also hints at some other things that he went through as a child. It could have been some SRA stuff, if you like satanic ritual abuse. If you're not familiar with that, there's a lot of information you can get on that out on just by doing some search engineering out there. But but that a lot of that stuff happens in the home and even in the school. Okay, so the group dynamics of 764. While some members adopt satanic or neo-Nazi imagery, the core motivation is cruelty, specifically to animals at the beginning, and then that moves up to harming people. Okay, so and then they also partake in trying to make chaos and just kind of like your run-of-the-mill Antifa people. Okay. So they don't have a political ideology supposedly, but they may have dropped just little pieces of everything in there. But the important thing is with how they groom kids and how they basically get these kids to, if they duplicate the process. Okay, so law enforcement response. The DOJ and the FBI classification on this, Network 764 is now considered a Tier 1 terrorist threat by the FBI and the DOJ. Recent indictments, there were two. Baron Kane Martin from Arizona, charged with terrorism, child exploitation, and animal abuse. And Tony Christopher Long out of California, indicted for CSAM, cyber talking and threats, cyber stalking. Okay. Public warnings put out by Representative Anna Paulina Luna. She warned that Network 764's encrypted grooming tactics and satanic extortation schemes are targeting specifically young girls. They do target boys, but they're targeting young girls. Attorney General Pam Bondi called the group unthinkably depraved and urged vigilance by parents and guardians. Okay. Mapping we're going to map the network a little bit here now. So the origin of the name 764 refers to the zip code prefix of Stephenville, Texas, the hometown of founder Bradley Chance Cadenhead, aka Felix. The founding and evolution, created in 2021 by Cadenhead after being expelled from school and radicalized online. It grew from CVLT, it's a French nihilistic group, into a decentralized cult with a global reach. The core subgroup is called 764 Inferno. An elite inner circle where the most extreme content is traded. The members archive abuse material in encrypted vaults and use lore books and digital guides for grooming and extortion. It pretty much resides within a digital ecosystem, and it operates across the Discord, Telegram, Roblox, Minecraft, and gaming platforms such as PlayStation and Xbox. As I mentioned, it uses the gaming platforms to lure minors, then migrates to encrypted messaging for exploitation. Their ideology, they say it's not political or religious, but driven by nihilistic, violent extremism. So what happens here is they don't push out any kind of an ideology, but some of the things that we see that are the same across the platform are the nihilistic, violent extremism, sadism, chaos, and destruction of innocence. And the other very popular thing is what we call smashing. And that's where a lot of the animal abuse comes into, but it graduates up to abuse of people. Okay. So known individuals arrested, charged, or wanted. So Bradley Chance Cadenhead Felix, he's the founder, convicted in Texas for child pornography, serving 80 years. Baron Kane Martin, aka Convict, He was based out of Arizona, indicted on 29 federal counts, including terrorism, CSAM, animal cruelty, and he's currently in custody. Then we've got Prasan Nepal Trippy. He's a co-leader of 764 Inferno, arrested and charged with child exploitation. Some of these people are not in the United States. So you'll notice that some of the names don't sound like American, but they may be. Some of them are. They don't have a whole lot of information on these people because I think some of them were still minors. I'm not 100% sure. So Leonidas Verigiannis, aka War, he's a Greek national arrested in Greece, fighting extradition to the United States. The United States currently does not have an extradition treaty with Greece, and that's something that our DOJ is working on getting. Okay, so Tony Christopher Long, he's California-based member charged with CSAM, cyber stalking, and threats. Jack Rocker, convicted for CSAM and neo-Nazi fan signing, sentenced to 7 years. Jairo Tianero, convicted for conspiracy to murder and child exploitation. Now, he's still out there. He's still wanted. I believe on the links that I put in the description, I think they have photos of some of these people, but keep an eye out for some of these names on your kids' social media and whatnot. Okay, so the FBI has not publicly named additional fugitives, but over 250 investigations are active. Many aliases remain unidentified. All right, so the FBI and DOJ actions plus safety guidance. The federal response, they classified Network 764 as a Tier 1 terrorist threat. That is the highest level under FBI and DOJ protocols. Some of the legal milestones here: Baron Martin is the first person in U.S. history charged with terrorism for online grooming and sadistic abuse. The DOJ is coordinating with international agencies, including Interpol and Greek authorities, for extradition of some of these international members. Scope of the investigation, as I mentioned, there are still 250 active cases across the United States. Actually, I should say 250 active cases across all 55 FBI field offices. So that's everything United States and outward, I suppose. And they're focused on encrypted platforms, grooming guides, and digital vaults. So parents and guardians, what to watch for. This is very important. It's also important to know too, under the trafficking stuff. Some of this might still be the same, but let me say this. If you see somebody doing a symbol like this, or like this behind their back, pay particular attention to that person, and maybe if you can, confront the person that they're with. Okay, so that's just one little tip. So here's what to watch for in the children. Okay, sudden mood or appearance changes in children, obsession with anonymous online friends or secret chats, carvings or symbols on the skin, often satanic or cryptic, wearing long sleeves in hot weather to hide injuries, and that also means long pants too. If you're used to seeing them wearing shorts in the summertime and they're all of a sudden wearing sweats or long pants, you might want to pay attention to that. Okay, harm to pets. Excuse me. Harm to pets or unexplained animal deaths, anonymous gifts, or gaming currency. So if you are normally the one that provides your child with the cards to be able to play their games like Roblox and whatever games that they play on Xbox or PlayStation or any other online games, and they require like a recharge card, and you're normally the one that buys them for them, if they're getting them from somewhere else, you might want to look into that, okay? So anonymous gifts or gaming currency. if they show a sudden interest in gore, mass shootings, or extremist symbols. So if they're online and they're looking up articles on some of this stuff, and you can find that in their search history, if they don't know how to delete it, you might want to set up their devices so they can't delete that stuff. Okay? So how to protect your kids. Make sure you monitor all of the devices that they use, cell phones, tablets, computers, laptops, any devices that they can use to access the internet. Check for encrypted apps like Telegram, Discord, and hidden folders. What I would do if I were the parent, especially for kids, I don't know how young most parents will allow their kids to have a cell phone. I let mine when they were 13, but I had it locked down. But what you can do is, no matter what age they're on, even if they're just using a tablet, a younger kid that's playing a game online or whatever, make sure you have monitoring software on there, and make sure that you set it up so the kids cannot install any software on their own or delete or remove anything that you put on there for them. In other words, like some kind of tracking software or monitoring software, so that you can actually keep track of what your child is doing. It's up to the parent if they want to do this all the way up until their child's 18. I didn't do that with my kids. I trusted my kid. They got their first cell phone at 13. And when they were old enough to drive, at that 16 to 17 range, when they got their driver's license, if I can trust them to drive a car, then I can trust them not to have all that information, with the exception of the location monitor. Because I always want to know where my kids are, especially if they're not home when they're supposed to be home. Okay? It's all about having a relationship with your kids and building trust. Okay, so you also, at home, your home needs to be a safe space for your kids that allows them to talk to you about anything. So it all starts at a young age on how you talk with your kids. I'm not trying to tell you how to be a parent, but I'm telling you how it worked for me. When my kids were younger, I always talked to my kids with respect. I talked to them like young adults. I didn't talk to them like children, okay? I always talked to my kids with respect. And the cool thing is that they automatically, maybe it's in their blood or whatever, I don't know, but my kids, I can speak for, they always respected me. There were times where they would get angry about something and they would say something that they didn't like, but they would come back and later apologize. I'm sorry about my throat. This is the second time I'm doing this. I had an audio issue the first time around. All right, so after the safe spaces, you want to educate early. Again, we always talk to our kids at a young age too, like when they were starting school, like pre-K, things like that. We always talk to our kids about stranger danger. Okay, it's probably not a bad idea to start talking about stuff like this and let them know that in the real life, there's the stranger danger, but when you're online, there are people out there that are sneaky and scary that will try to contact you online and lie to you and tell you things. And these are people that you've never met. You don't know them. They'll try to manipulate you and try to tell you to do things or say things, and try to act a certain way. They will talk to you and try to meet with you. When they get a little bit older, they might, they could probably learn the name sextortion by then. Okay, and then you got to teach your kids about their digital boundaries. It's the same thing as when they're little, and in the real world with stranger danger, just roll that over into the digital world and let them know that there are people out there that they can't see, and that makes it even scarier than the in-person stranger danger. If you see anything like this, if you notice anything with what your kids are doing, if they're cutting themselves or if they're doing certain things, talk to your kid first. See what you can gather from them. Don't ever accuse. Just be very careful, about how you approach the subject. And then if you find out that maybe somebody might be starting to groom them, report to the authorities immediately, because right now, these days, especially computer crimes against children it's rampant, and the law enforcement will be involved in that really quick. I know the areas that I live, local law enforcement, the sheriff's departments definitely did investigate right away and get involved. You can also use the FBI's IC3.gov. It's a capital I, capital C, the number 3.gov. Or again, contact your local law enforcement sheriff's department if you suspect grooming or abuse. Stay informed, and then follow DOJ and FBI updates, and then watch for new aliases and tactics. The updates are all in the links that I put in the description below. Okay, so that's all I have. I was going to put pictures and stuff up of these guys that they caught, but there's no sense in that. That'll just make this longer. You can get all that stuff from the links that I have in the description for you. Please take part in your kids' lives. Have a good relationship with your kids. Just protect them. Right now, the kids are important. The kids are our future. Okay, and that's why the evil ones out there go after the kids first. So, again, as always, everybody, with the things that, like I mentioned, today's November 1st. Today, we're going to find out whether or not SNAP is going to go through or not. It's only, 9, going on 10? It's not even 10 o'clock in the morning yet here. But so we're going to wait and find out what goes on with that. Plus the other stuff with all the terrorist stuff. Antifa's still out there protesting the ICE and all that. So there's going to be a lot more going on. As always, everybody, keep your heads on a swivel. And then I just want to say God bless every one of you out there on the other side of the screen. I want to say thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do that. Please give us a thumbs up. I apologize for the 5 minutes of blank at the beginning. I was restarting the stream and I forgot to turn my microphone back on after I ran the intro, but I noticed it. I would have noticed it earlier, but I have my notes up in front. So please share this out too. This is important. Share it on your social media. It's very important that parents get this information and are able to know what's going on with their kids and what's out there, what's stalking their kids. Okay? So again, God bless. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. We're for sure going to be back for morning coffee on Monday morning. And we may be back with some other things over the weekend. So y'all take care. God bless. Be safe. Head on a swivel. Peace out.